My name is Amy. Welcome back to Three Burrow Farm. As you can see, I have all of my seedlings that I started in August in front of me here. Some of them I have potted up into larger pots because these guys won't go out until later this month or in October. There are lots and lots of plants that can't go out till that time, but there are a few that will be going out soon. I just need to make room in my patches. So I'm going to go through today with what I have planted so far, what I am raising here. I will be doing my second lot of seed raising very soon. I want to do some more tomatoes. I've got the larger tomato plants that are growing quite nicely in these larger pots here. But I won't be doing a second planting of some things like the cucumbers and that. I might wait just a little bit longer because they really want to go out very soon and I can't put them out yet. Well, at least I can't put them out without a lot of covering. I will be doing one whole bed of tomatoes, capsicums, eggplant, that sort of thing. Probably a bit of basil, and I will be putting some frost cloth over that bed. But with the climbing vegetables, I'm growing them up trellises, so it's really hard to cover them at this point, but I will have a good think about how I can cover them. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. These are really wanting to they're really wanting to grow, and look, some of them are zucchinis, which I will be able to cover as well, but the others are the climbing cucumbers. I've got some gherkin cucumbers over here, and they're just putting out all their little tendrils. They really want to climb. So I've got to think of something to do with these. Last year I planted the first lot out around this time. I planted them out amazingly at the start or middle of September, and we had no more frosts. And that was amazing. I feel like this year is different though. This year I feel like we're still gonna get frosts. So I really do have to cover them, and there are a lot to cover. So I will go through that in a later date, but if you have any suggestions, please let me know. I was thinking of, putting a sheet on either side of the trellis and bringing it down with bricks. But as you can hear, probably through the chimney at least, and you can see, because I'm wearing all of this warm clothing, it is really cold and windy. We're having storms at the moment coming through, and it is really deadly cold out there. So the last video that I did was, they had all these sunny days, and now we're having really cold days. And this is typical of September. It is that transition time between going from winter and moving into the warmer weather. And there are some warm days to come. Oh my, I've just looked at the weather for next week, and we might be getting up to 22 or 24 degrees. Oh my goodness, that will be just marvelous. I'm planning to be in the garden as much as possible. But at the moment, it's raining, it's cold, so what better than to just reassess what I have here and do some inside stuff. Now, I don't have a seed raising house outside as yet. We are hoping to have one built before spring next year, fingers crossed. But there are a few things on our list on the farm that need to be done before then, And at the moment, I just take advantage of our solar passive house that we have here. And until in a month's time, we will have beautiful sunshine coming through our north-facing windows. And so the seedlings are thoroughly enjoying the sunshine when it's out, but I will really enjoy having a seed raising house, a greenhouse, glass house, something to raise my seedlings in the future, because we get a little bit tired of all of these seedlings being in our house and in the way. So let's start with the tomatoes. I potted these up about a week ago and they had a bit of a shock. So some of them had some really curled up leaves and they went really dry, but now they're putting on new growth, and the top leaves were fine, but the bottom leaves were all curled up and they've dried off. These ones in particular over here are just were really affected. I'll take some closer footage of that. I also had this problem with the cucumbers and zucchinis. They had a bit of a shock there. And what I think I did wrong, this one here too, what's this? Marshmallow. There's new leaves coming through. They're fine now. I'm not too worried. But what I did wrong, what I think I did wrong, was that the soil was a little bit dry when I potted them up. I've been watering in the morning, but what I needed to do was water the night before I transplanted them into larger pots, and then they would have been wet, really wet, and they would have just survived it so much better. But they're not dead, so that's good. I'm going to try it differently next time, so I will do that. I will water it that night, then repot them up and water them again. But as I said, they're fine. I'm just hoping that they continue to grow strong. Their stems, their main stems, are much, much stronger now than when they were in these small module trays. Now, as I said, I have to be really careful with the frost because we don't have any polytunnels or anything like that. I do have frost cloth, but things like this, like the nasturtium right here, they'll just die in the next frost we have. So some of these things will be potted up as well as the tomatoes. These nasturtiums are wanting to be outside. They are pretty happy, but their leaves would be much bigger if they could put their roots out more. So I've got some nasturtiums here and some marigolds here. Let's move these out of the way. The tomatoes. I have started with just 3 different varieties of tomatoes, but I will be planting more varieties soon. So I've got the Granny's Throwing tomato. I have the Tommy Toe tomato and the Legend tomato. And here I've got some cucumbers. So I have mini white cucumbers, mini muncher cucumbers, and I also have over here in this tray some gherkin cucumbers. So these are the ones that I'm going to preserve into gherkins this year or next year. I've also got some sweet basil in here. The sweet basil's also needing to be planted out because it's getting taller and taller. And I have some tulsi in here as well. I'm growing a lot of different varieties of basil, including Thai basil and cinnamon basil as well. I'm also growing a lot of herbs and medicinal plants that I've never grown before. So I need to look into what or when I can plant these out as well, whether they're frost hardy or not. So I've got the marshmallow root here. It's looking quite happy, even though it had a bit of a shock at one stage. I used to have some covers over these containers, and when I took them off, all of them seemed to react a bit. So I think I need to slowly introduce these outside before I plant them, which is what I normally would do. I'll leave them out for at least a day. A cooler day than a warmer day would be preferable. And then when I plant them in, they've got the drippers right there and they're generally all good to go. So the marshmallow root I have not grown before. I've got anise. I haven't grown that before either. And I've also got some Greek oregano here as well. I do have a lot of oregano in the garden. I'm not sure what it is though, because cuttings came from a friend's garden, and yeah, I'm just interested to see whether what I've got growing out there is what I'm now growing here, the Greek oregano. Over here I have some tall plants that are growing. I didn't put these seeds in here this year. They've actually come up from seed that's been sitting in this tray for a long time. And I think they're watermelon plants. Because I did plant some watermelon seeds and they didn't come up. So I was like, all right, that's the end of my seed raising. I put these all away. I leave the soil in most of them if they haven't been used, and I just replenish the soil. But I planted strawberry spinach. I planted these seeds, and these ones have come up. Now, they've been a bit eaten by my cats. So my cats have been having a bit of a nibble on the larger plants, and I had planned to separate everything. I'm just waiting for more pots. I want to pot them up. I need to do research into the strawberry spinach and see whether I can plant it now. So if I can plant it outside, I will, and then I will pot up what I think is watermelon. It's some sort of melon. We shall see. Okay, so in this tray here, I have cat mint. And I haven't grown cat mint before. I've got some pennyroyal, and there are only just a few plants in the pennyroyal. They're old seeds, but old seeds can work still. They don't really have a huge expiration date seeds. And then I've got some lettuce over here. This is Amish deer tongue lettuce. And I need to plant this outside. It's nice. Okay, as I said before, I've got some zucchinis in here. I think I've just got black zucchini and golden zucchini so far. I also have my cinnamon basil in here and some sweet basil as well. And then here's some of the mini muncher cucumbers. So as you can see, I have planted out some of the plants that were in these, but then most of them have just been potted up into larger pots. So this one is completely full except for one row, which would have been some herbs that I put out recently. So I've got lemon balm on this side. I can't even read what I'm growing here. I'll have to come back to that sometime. I can't read it, but I have it written down somewhere. I've got saltwort, and none of the saltwort has come up, so I need to go and research why that has happened, and I'll do a second sowing once I've taken all the other items out of this tray. I've got mugwort here. And I've got self-heal as well. The self-heal looks very similar to this one over here. My next tray has some clary sage on this row here. I've got lemon mint, valerian, echinacea, and mullein at the end here, which is looking very happy indeed. And the last tray has the holy basil, the tulsi. Next along I have some capsicum. These ones are a mix of colours. And then I have Slim Jim eggplants along here. And this label here was when we had tomatoes in here, and obviously I had tomatoes in here as well. So there you have it. This is what I've planted so far, and I'm looking forward to doing my second succession of planting at the end of this month, I think. And I shall take you along the journey of planting these out. I'm looking forward to seeing them all growing strong, and hopefully they all work out here in our climate. And I'm looking forward to harvesting from these plants in the future. It just makes me so happy to see all this beautiful lush green growing inside, and I can't wait to be outside more often and just tending to these beautiful plants and eating from them in the future. I think it's just going to be a wonderful year for growing. I feel like we've got a little bit of wet, and it's probably going to get quite hot this summer. Last summer didn't get that hot, and it was a good growing season because there was rain as well. But you know, every year brings some challenges. It's not easy being a gardener, but it is so rewarding. So I know I'm going to get some sort of reward from all this effort that is going into raising these beautiful plants.